policies like No Child Left Behind have led to an increase in standardized testing. And as a result, in the social studies classroom, this has led to a drill and kill mentality of memorizing and regurgitating facts in the history classroom. This is a huge problem. You see, for teachers to actually be teaching, the students actually have to be learning. So I ask you, do you know what happened in 1787? How about 1803? State standards would say that if you knew the Constitution was signed in 1787 or that we bought the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, then your teachers did a good job. However, the National Council for the Social Studies would argue that the true purpose of social studies is to prepare young people to interact in a democratic, culturally diverse society. And yet, we aren't doing this in our classrooms today. My research looks to investigate the impact spoken word poetry can have on the social studies curriculum and if it can be used to counteract the standardized curriculum we often see today. Now, spoken word poetry is different than poetry written just for the page because it is poetry that is performed and demands to be heard, with strong roots in the hip-hop culture. For my study, I learned in research that this has been a common practice in the English classroom. However, research has showed little of the impact it could have in social studies. My questions look to see how it could impact in terms of student engagement, retention of the material, and overall connections to the social studies content. I designed a spoken word curriculum over the Civil War in which students engaged in classroom performances, student and spoken word videos, as well as writing prompts that aligned with the district's weekly learning goals. I collected evidence by looking at interviews, student engagement, as well as artifacts in a pre- and post-test over the Civil War. What I found was that students were desperate for voice and that poetry gave them a medium to do so. Also, the students began to make connections with their classmates that they hadn't been before through sharing lived experiences in their writing. Additionally, teachers noted that this not only aided in their classroom management, but it also aided in collaborative learning. The students were more willing to work with each other because they knew each other. Additionally, the students' grades increased. The passing rates increased as a result of them connecting to the material more when spoken word poetry was incorporated. The evidence from this study showed that not only did students grow in their knowledge of the curriculum, but they also grew in their understanding of themselves through productive dialogue of controversial issues and the understanding of each other as well, interacting in that culturally diverse society. They also grew in their knowledge of the content. Furthermore, I think that this shows that it impacts the social studies, but with future research, I would want to look at the impact it could have in integrating it not only into my own classroom, but to other classrooms. Because in my opinion, at this time in education, the social studies desperately needs her poets. Thank you.